Good afternoon and thanks for joining us for 22 News at noon. I'm Rich Teddemer. This storm's a monster. That's from Florida Governor Rick Scott, and that's what he's saying about Hurricane Matthew. Take a live look right here from Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Matthew's strongest winds of 120 miles per hour are just offshore, but the Category 3 storm is still strong enough to menace more than 500 miles of coastline. More than 360,000 homes and businesses have lost power. The U.S. Hurricane Center in Miami says although the eye of the storm is still offshore, this is a weather system that is over 300 miles wide. The updated forecast continues to bring Matthew along the coast of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina before gradually pulling out to sea. Let's get the latest from 22 News Storm Team meteorologist Nick Bannon. He's tracking Matthew for us. He has the latest from the forecast center.
You know, it would have been much worse had the eye of the storm been just a little bit west, but it's still causing enough damage and issues as it is. There it is right now. Hurricane Matthew, Category 3 storm still, winds still at 120 miles per hour. That really hasn't changed much over the past several hours. It is now just northwest of Daytona Beach, and we've got a look now at our clouds and radar of it, and you can see the swirling motion just around the eye. The eye is the center of the storm. The eye itself relatively calm, but the eye wall that surrounds the eye is where the strongest winds are and some of the heaviest rain too. And this is all helping to push the ocean water, the storm surge we call it, toward the coast just north of the eye. And as we're approaching high tide, the combination of the storm surge, high tide plus the waves on top of that is going to start to cause some coastal issues over northeastern Florida and portions of the Georgia coast too, possibly worse coastal issues than we've seen out of this so far. Here's the closer view of the eye, and you can see that calm weather in the middle with that dangerous wind of over 100 miles per hour just to the north and northeast of the eye as it pushes all that onshore. So we'll be keeping an eye on this here through the day. New information now on the track of Matthew. Category 3 now should stay at Category 3 here through this evening. 8 p.m. still not making landfall with the eye of the storm staying just offshore, but that'll allow it to stay strong and continue to throw wind, storm surge, and rain along coastal areas. 115 miles per hour, by the way, by this evening at 8 p.m. And then as it approaches the South Carolina coast, it weakens slowly. A Category 2 storm at that point for Saturday morning. 100 mile per hour winds. And then as it heads towards North Carolina, it continues to weaken, but still looks like it could affect the coast either offshore or making landfall somewhere in South Carolina or North Carolina. 85 mile per hour winds at that point, and that is still enough wind to do damage here Saturday later in the evening at 8 p.m. Then finally, as we end Sunday morning, pulling offshore, and then it does a little turnabout as it continues to weaken to a tropical storm as we head into Tuesday. Problem is it could kind of head back towards South Florida, although not as a strong hurricane. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Just because it has maybe caused a little less in the way of damage that people would have expected so far doesn't mean it may not do the damage expected here from northeastern Florida into Georgia and the Carolinas. So certainly to be taken seriously, as I'm sure any of your family and friends in that area are doing now. Clouds